The first big transfer of the Amorim era at United. PSG want to snatch Camavinga for 80 million euros. Barça are making moves for Julián Álvarez. Ancelotti officially takes over Brazil. And Real Madrid and Chelsea are planning a massive swap deal. Let's be honest, 400 likes, and we'll all pretend this is super important. You'll pretend you care, I'll pretend I know what I'm talking about, and together we'll pretend we're breaking down the hottest transfer rumors. Deal? Awesome. Let's dive in. Carlo Ancelotti is packing his bags. Real Madrid are without a manager again. And here we go. The usual panic in the offices. Who do we get? Where do we look? Is everything falling apart? First reaction? Everyone clutching their hearts. Get Scaloni. Genius. World Cup winner. Messi's mentor with Argentina. Sounds perfect, right? But you know what Scaloni did? He looked at all that Madrid glamour and said, no, thanks. How? Real Madrid. The dream job for any manager. And he turns it down to stay with Argentina. He'd rather take his boys to the top, again than parade around VIP lounges in Europe. Massive respect. Florentino Perez, of course, kept a straight face, but you could see it in his eyes. He was gutted. Scaloni would have been the perfect fit. Calm the locker room, bring the trophies, but not meant to be. So what's next? Well, now it's all in on one of their own, Xabi Alonso, and this, guys, is where it gets spicy. Xabi is absolutely killing it at Bayer Leverkusen. He turned a bunch of Europa League hopefuls into straight-up killers. And if he brings that magic to the Bernabeu, hold on tight, Europe, but there's a catch. Xabi isn't stupid. He knows exactly how it works in Madrid. One day, they're carrying you on their shoulders. 2 bad games later, they're throwing you under the bus. Is he ready to jump into that circus? Big question. Meanwhile, Carlo, our beloved grandpa, his second run at Madrid was incredible. Champions League, La Liga, domestic cups, but everything has an expiry date. This season, painful at best. The Copa is gone, La Liga hopes are still alive, but barely. And now Brazil are waving at him. Come on over, Carlo. It's warm and sunny here. The Athletic already reports Carlo has said goodbye to the locker room. Yeah, technically, his contract runs until 2026, but realistically, he's out right after the season ends. Brazil wants him ready for the World Cup qualifiers this July. Carlo, truth be told, was dreaming of lying on the beach first, not jumping straight into the grind. But who's asking him, right? And you know what? If Real somehow bites down on the bit and drags themselves to the La Liga title, it would be the most beautiful farewell ever. Straight out of a Netflix script, Grandpa Carlo walking off into the sunset with the trophy in his hands, fans in tears. Absolute perfection, but if not, well, get ready for a new era, without Scaloni, maybe with Alonso, or, if it all goes classic Madrid, with an interim like Santiago Solari. Anyone missing Solari? Smash that like button. But real talk, do you honestly think a new coach fixes everything? When half the squad is either retirement age or still playing with toys? What do you think, Madridistas? Who should lead this team so it's not just another $1 million disappointment? Drop your picks in the comments. Like if you're backing Xabi Alonso. Dislike if you're dreaming of Mourinho and his famous parked bus making a comeback. Anyway, time for me to grab some popcorn. Summer at the Bernabeu is going to be pure madness. Barcelona are plotting a direct hit on Atletico, and it's a big one. Joan Laporta, who usually smiles like he's running the show, is behind the scenes scratching his head. Who the hell is going to replace Lewandowski? Because as much of a beast as Lewa still is, let's be real, the guy's turning 37 this summer. You can't outrun Father Time. His reactions aren't what they used to be. The mileage is catching up. Sure, he can still pull a rabbit out of the hat now and then, but for how much longer? Meanwhile, Hansi Flick's cooking up a new-look Barça. Fast, mobile, without a classic number 9, and behind closed doors, the message is clear. We need a new face of the attack, not just any striker, someone who can drag this team into a new era. And guess who's at the top of the list? Julián Álvarez. Yeah, that Julián, the one who's been wrecking defenses all season. Just smashed Atletico and is still only 25. A guy who can thrive anywhere. River Plate, Pep's City Machine, Simeone's War Zone, it doesn't matter. Drop him into Flick's Barça and he'll explode. Flick turns good players into killers. Look at De Jong, went from a shy technician to an on-pitch general. Pedri, no longer injury FC, now a non-stop engine. But hold your horses, it's not happening tomorrow. Barcelona aren't throwing cash around this summer. First, they have to secure Lamine Yamal and Rafinha. So the Álvarez move, that's a play for next season. For now, stay quiet, stack the cash. Because Atletico won't just hand him over. You want Julián? You pay the 150 million euro release clause. No discounts, no sweet talking. 150 million euros for a player who's survived more football wars by 25 than most players do in a career. Fair price. Honestly, for this guy, maybe. While Laporta's digging through sofa cushions for 150 million euros, you can help out way easier. Hit that like button. It's free, unlike Álvarez, but Laporta's thinking bigger. You want to stay Barça president? You bring Álvarez to the Camp Nou. Simple. If Barça pull this off, it's not just a signing, it's a statement. A new Barça, young blood plus a killer up front equals a real shot at reclaiming the throne. Atletico will fight like hell. That clause wasn't written for decoration. But if Barça go all in, who's gonna stop them? Especially for a player who fits into any system like he was custom built for it. And let's be honest, after all those years failing to replace Suarez, isn't Julián Álvarez exactly what Barcelona have been dreaming of? Tell me, culés, would you love to see Julián in the Blaugrana? Or do you think Lewa's still got a little magic left in him? Drop your takes in the comments, because trust me, this is just the start. And if moves like this are already in the works, summer 2026 is gonna be absolute madness. Real Madrid are trying to pull off a good old marketplace swap. Arda Güler plus £40 million for Enzo Fernandez. Yeah, you heard that right. The same Real Madrid that were literally carrying Güler around on their shoulders not too long ago are now ready to throw him in like a free ketchup packet with your burger. And there's Chelsea, sitting there, eyebrows raised, trying to figure out, do we even want this? Because let's be real, the current Enzo is not the superhero they paid crazy money for. He's starting to look more like a sad version of Jorginho, backward passes, zero drive, the eternal suffering face. Seriously, they dropped £120 million on this guy, and now he's worth maybe £75 million. Who was in charge of that transfer? Where are they now? Witness protection. And it's not like Real don't know exactly what they're doing. They can see it clear as day. Güler has no future in their starting 11. The kid's rotting on the bench. He needs a team that says, here's the ball, go create, not a machine designed to squeeze the last drop of energy out of veteran players. But here's the real question. Is Güler even built for the Premier League? It's not a football league, it's gladiator fights. You get eaten alive faster than you can say, ref, foul. A kid who barely learned how to press is suddenly supposed to dive into battles against someone like Bruno Guimaraes. Really? And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, here comes Atletico Madrid. Simeone, with that sixth sense for underdogs, is ready to toss in 30 pieces of silver and some battered defender to snatch Enzo away too. Atletico love these types, broken, underestimated and burning with rage. Perfect for their meat grinder style. And now, Enzo's standing at a crossroads. Go to Real Madrid and play endless rondos with Modric, or go to Atletico and fight for every square inch of grass like it's your last meal. And here's the real kicker. Enzo is not the guy who's going to change Real Madrid. He's not even someone you tear your shirt off for. He's a solid, dependable piece, a Tchouaméni-level brick. No magic, no vision, just reliable structure. But maybe Real are so desperate for building blocks right now that even bricks are running in short supply. So what do you think? Who's making the bigger mistake if this deal happens? Real Madrid throwing Güler away, or Chelsea tossing another kid into the Premier League meat grinder? And does Real even need another good but not great Argentine midfielder in their engine room? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's tear this one apart. PSG are trying to hack the system. 80 million euros for Camavinga, guys. And not just randomly, they want to snatch him while he's injured, thinking Real Madrid might blink. Sorry, but this isn't football. It's straight up street tactics. Paris really thinks Real Madrid is some second-hand store now? They seriously believe Florentino Perez, the man who practically raised Camavinga like his own, would just hand him over for 80 million euros. The guy's got a €1 billion release clause. That's not a buyout. That's a meme. And PSG are like, well, he's injured. Maybe they'll sell. Really? Camavinga is Madrid's future, not a patch job. Sure, he's not always in the starting 11, but he's a machine. a beast who chews up midfield battles every game for Los Blancos. One moment, he's dinking passes with his heel. The next, he's sliding into tackles so hard the turf flies. He's 22 years old, already 4 years at the Bernabeu, soaked up lessons from legends like Modric and Kroos, and now he's ready to destroy everything in his path. Okay, yes, he's out for the rest of the season. But since when does an injury mean discount time? What is PSG now? A clearance warehouse for injured talents. They're panicking over there. Fabian Ruiz might leave, their midfield's falling apart, and Luis Enrique nervously peeking over at Madrid. And what does he see? A battle-tested, Real Madrid-bred Camavinga. And he thinks, let's grab him. Guys, Camavinga isn't some organ donor for your rebuilding projects. He's the heartbeat of Madrid's future. He's like venom fused with the DNA of Los Blancos, sprinting around midfield like a runaway train. In Madrid, they're just laughing it off. Camavinga is not for sale, not open for talks, not even to be touched. He's under contract until 2029, with that €1 billion release clause saying, don't even try. And it's not just talk. There's literally no one else at Real who can cover defensive midfield, left back and centre midfield all at once like him. His absence is already going to feel like a cold shower. But selling him? Forget it. And if you were Camavinga, would you walk away? You're being shaped into greatness. You've already lifted a Champions League trophy. You're in a system where legends are made. And PSG come along with a fat paycheck and flashy lights. But where's the legacy? Where's the history? Where's the glory? Compare the Bernabeu to Parc des Princes and feel the difference. Irony of the day, a French club trying to steal a French player from a Spanish club because they can't find a proper star in their own league. Funny? Not really. Sad? Not even close. It just shows everything. PSG has no real project, just a fire sale and desperate SOS calls. And Real Madrid, they don't play that game. So let's be real. If you think Camavinga is joining PSG this summer, you clearly don't understand who Camavinga is or what Real Madrid stands for. And here's a question. How much would Camavinga have to be worth for Real to even think about sitting at the negotiation table? Is there even a number? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Manchester United are back on the hunt, and this time the target is serious. Matheus Cunha from Wolves. No drama, no noise. United have already offered the Brazilian a 5-year contract, straight up until 2030. No tricky clauses, no fine print. Plus, they're ready to trigger his £63 million release clause if Wolves agree to spread the payment over 3 or 4 years, so it doesn't blow up United's budget in one go. Now, here's the twist. Wolves only just extended Cunha's contract in January to fend off suitors. And yet, the guy's practically packed his bags. No matter how much they want to hold on to him, questions about Cunha's future aren't going away. Why? Because he's on fire right now. Playing as a 10, a second striker, even wider up front, wherever you need goals and creativity, he's there. A real engine on the pitch. Fabrizio Romano's already waving the flag. Negotiations are underway, and they're moving fast. United are pushing hard, full throttle, but they can't afford to slow down. Arsenal, Aston Villa, and clubs from Saudi Arabia with bags of cash are also lurking. One wrong move, and Cunha could be gone. And here's a big one. If Cunha does sign, United's attack could be in for a shake-up. Rasmus Højlund? Let's be honest, 3 Premier League goals all season? That's not exactly Old Trafford material. There's already interest from Serie A. And honestly, does he even realize time's ticking and he's nowhere near a top scorer yet? Garnacho. His name's popping up more and more in transfer rumours too. Bottom line, Cunha wouldn't just be an upgrade, he'd be a signal that a full attacking rebuild is on the way. And what about Matthias himself? According to Give Me Sport, he's already given the green light to the move. And not just for money or Champions League football, Cunha genuinely wants to be part of United's new project, even without UCL guarantees. That's the level of motivation we're talking about. Important detail, Ruben Amorim'S already sketching out a system with Cunha in mind, a 3-4-2-1 setup, playing in the double 10 role, exactly where he lit it up at Wolves under Vitor Pereira. Creativity, energy, flair. Everything United need for a rebuild based on speed and imagination. And yes, even though United's finances aren't exactly smooth sailing right now, with salary cuts and player sales on the table, they still see this deal as perfectly doable. By the way, speaking of smooth sailing, every single person who hits the subscribe button is making the devilishly right move, helping United move towards a brighter future. Superstition? Maybe. But hey, what if it actually works? One last thing, no official letter between the clubs yet, but judging by the mood, it's just a matter of time, and not much time at that. Bottom line, guys, keep your eyes peeled. If this goes through, United could finally roll out the kind of attack fans have been dreaming about. Fast, fresh, and finally, intelligent. What do you think? Is Cunha really the guy who can bring Old Trafford back to life? Or are we just setting ourselves up for another disappointment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk!